What's going on YouTube? I want to bring a video to you about the best way to buy a house. All right. So if this is your first time being here, please hit the like button for me. That actually helps me out with the algorithm. It helps me be seen by a lot more people, not just you. And if you want to come back for other videos because you like this one, it actually brings it up in your suggestion list, so it'll come back to you again. But my name is Darrell Coleman, and I love what I do. Being a realtor, not really a lifelong dream, but it's something that I fell into, man, and it's been really, really cool. So I want to be able to explain this, how to buy a house to you, just so you can have the correct knowledge whenever you go to purchase. All right, so the first thing you want to do is get pre-qualified. All right, some realtors, and I've been one, I try to go backwards sometimes and give people the benefit of a doubt. It's actually bit me in the butt. But for you as a first-time home buyer, or just a home buyer in general, you actually want to get pre-qualified. So by getting pre-qualified, that allows you to understand how much you're actually qualified for. Whether you're qualified for $100 million, whether you're qualified at $100,000, or you may not be qualified at all. So that's something that's good to know right off the bat before you start searching for homes. That saves you time, saves the realtor time, because you could be out here searching for a home that, let's say the home is $200,000. That's a really low price. I know this market is not really, presenting stuff like that, but say $200,000, okay? You don't even know if you're pre-qualified, so we start going through the process of, we put in the application, or not the application, but we put in the offer actually for the home. Now the home is being held for you, and we don't know if we qualify or not. Well, now that it takes the home off the market for the individual that's listing it, yes, it does hold the home for us, but we have no clue whether we're qualified for this home or not. So we're trying to go through the process of doing the inspection and, paying for maybe a roofer, paying for some repairs, or they're paying for repairs. But this is a lengthy process that usually takes 30 to 45 days in general if you have your pre-qualification. So imagine if you don't have the pre-qualification, we start going through this process, and now you go through to get pre-qualified and you can't. Well, that home is now off the market for that individual. It just makes it a little bit more difficult for them. Maybe we fall out of escrow because we can't get pre-qualified, or not pre-qualified, we can't get qualified now. So you've wasted your time, you've wasted the realtor's time, you wasted the seller's time. So to prevent that, these are some of the things that we need to look at when you go to the pre-qualification. All right, so your lender's going to be looking at three different things. These are the main things that they're going to look at whenever it comes to getting you pre-qualified for a home. All right, your pre-qualification includes your credit score. So there are lenders that can get you a home for 620. There's even situations where you can get 580, depending on what kind of what is it, like if it's FHA, VA, or conventional, depending on what kind of loan it is. I think it's the VA actually does the 580, but ask your lender, because I'm not a lender, so you want to get the most up-to-date information from them. But let me just tell you this here. Having a 580 or 620 credit score is not going to get you the favorable interest rates. So if you want to come in here and just purchase a home, you can come in here with 620 and purchase yourself a home, okay? You'll get pre-qualified, you'll be able to get everything that you need. But if you want to come in here and have some of the better credit, to be able to get some of the better interest rates, which is what I would advise, is you want to have about 740, 760. That'll get you some of the best credit score rates when it comes to your interest rate. But it's a little bit hard to get to that point sometimes, depending on where you're at in life and what's going on for you. So if you can't get that, don't even worry about it. You can still get pre-qualified. Next, they're going to look at your income. Income is very important. If you've been bouncing around from job to job, let's say you're a car salesman, okay? And then you get into solar panel salesman, and then you get into real estate salesman, and then you're selling Cutco knives or something like that. If you've been doing this for the last 2 years, it's actually okay, because you're staying in the same genre of, or the same career path, all right? Now, if you've been a doctor, and then all of a sudden you want to become a 5th grade teacher, yeah, that doesn't really match up. That's not the same. Those two career paths don't match up. So that would actually make you possibly not qualify for a home loan, because your career path has changed and your income has drastically changed. And I don't want to say just because it's a doctor to that. Maybe you worked at a gas station and now you're a 5th grade teacher. that's still a drastic change. So you have to have 2 years worth of W-2s, or if you're self-employed, you have to provide your self-employment information, and then they'll be able to get you qualified on that. But they do want to see 2 years worth of history. All right, and then your debt to income ratio. I don't even want to get into that because that one is really, really tough. Different loans actually need a different debt to income ratio. So I don't want to speak on that too much for myself, but just know if you have more than like 60-70% debt to your income, it's going to be a little bit harder to qualify, and then you may not even be able to be pre-qualified. So check with your lender on that, because they'll be able to give you better information when it comes to your debt, and then how your credit score is going to impact your interest rate. All right, so now you've already got pre-qualified. Now you got to look at affordability. Just because you pre-qualify for a certain amount doesn't mean that you can actually afford that amount. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. So for me, I used a VA loan, okay? On my VA loan, I actually got pre-qualified, I want to say, for like $480,000. I only made maybe about $30,000 to $40,000. Same thing for the wife. She only made about $30,000 to $40,000. That $70,000 to $80,000 to me doesn't seem like I can qualify for, or should be trying to afford, a $480,000 home. Those payments would be a little bit astronomical for me. So what I did was split that in half, and I started looking at homes, and this again was about 6 years ago, but I started looking at homes closer to, the $250,000 range. Let's try to stay within that, and my realtor actually helped me do that as well. But we stayed within that range to be able to have something that's affordable, meaning the affordability of the home, and I still have cars, I have kids, I want to be able to eat out, I want to be able to go to movies, so things like that. So not just, hey, I'm pre-qualified for $500,000, I need to spend the whole amount. I'm not, as a realtor, saying that you can't, because I'll definitely find you a home. So let me tell you, as a realtor, the more you pay for your home, the more I get, all right? So if I say, hey, cut that in half, I'm now just chopping my check in half. But I'm telling you, let's just get something more affordable, just because it might be the safer route, all right? Just don't spend all your money in one bucket if you don't have to. All right, so within this affordability, there's 3 different breakdowns of that, okay? There's a down payment, which is very important. For some individuals, like the VA home loan, you don't necessarily have a down payment, all right? So the FHA, conventional, there's USDA, there's all these other different kind of loans that you can get. There is a down payment. And typically, the banks want you to pay anywhere between 3 and 20%, okay? So let's go ahead and put 3 to 20%. Now, 20% is pretty hefty. This isn't the old days, and you've seen some of my other videos possibly, to where you don't have to put down 20%. But just know that if you do not put down 20%, you actually owe some PMI, which is property mortgage insurance. Property mortgage insurance is tacked on anytime you don't do a 20% down payment or more. 3% will get you into a home. So no issues, don't panic. 3% will get you in a home. Sometimes it's 3.5, depending on what kind of loan again. Ask your lender and they'll be able to tell you that. But that percentage rate, it changes depending on how much you want to put down. Now, that also affects your monthly payment. Your monthly payment will actually be affected by how much you put down. If you want a lower monthly payment, you just put a little bit more down. With that PMI, if you do under the 20%, that PMI will roll into your monthly payment. Could be anywhere between $100, $150, $200. Could be a little bit less. I don't know. They're actually going to calculate that for you and then put that in there for you. All right. So for all of the loans, there's always going to be a closing cost. Sometimes the seller can do a concession, or you ask for a concession and the seller puts the money in towards your closing cost or your down payment or whatever the case may be. Usually not down payment, but closing cost, appraisals, things like that. But you do still have closing cost. So that's something I always think about. Right, closing costs can actually range anywhere between 2 to 4%. This is to be on the safe side, so that you have a good idea of how much you're going to have to bring to the table. Because not only do you have your down payment for some of these loans, and you got a good range of whatever you're going to pay, you have your closing cost, you have appraisals and things like that. So always keep in mind when you're looking at affordability. All right, next up you have the real estate agent. That's what I am. I'm a licensed real estate professional here in Arizona. So whenever you go to purchase a home, number 3 is you want to have a real estate agent. And the reason why you want to have that, because let me give you this example, all right? So you have a seller's agent, which will be, let's say I'm the seller's agent right now. All right, you want to sell your home. I come to your home, do all the little pictures and things that I need to do to make it look beautiful and advertise it and things like that. Now we have an agreement. I go ahead and list it. That's going to be a 6%, and this is just average, all right? And it's all negotiable, but it's going to be a 6%, 3% on my side, 3% on the other side, but it's a 6% charge for whatever the sale of the home is. So if you sell it for $600,000, 6% of that goes to your realtors, all right? So now you go over to the buyer's agent, because again, I'm the seller's agent. Go over to the buyer's agent. The buyer's agent is going to help their buyer find that home, all right? They're still going to be the real estate agent, same as me. Only difference is they're representing the buyer, I'm representing the seller. But when that real estate agent on the listing side posts that home, you as the seller pays me 3%. But check it out. The buyer's agent comes in, they put in an offer, they want to purchase the home. That buyer is actually paying you, the seller, for the home. And through that money, or through that commissions or whatever you want to call it that you get, you now pay both real estate agents. All right, so you're paying that 6% or whatever percent that was agreed upon or negotiated, you're going to pay that amount. All right, so a lot of times some buyers say, what if I just cut out my real estate agent? What if I can just come in here and speak to your agent, the listing agent, and we go ahead and make a deal? Let me tell you, either way, you're still paying for the home. If it's at 6%, you're still paying 6%. Now all you did was have dual agency for that listing agent, and that listing agent now gets 6% to work with both of you guys. So me as a realtor, man, I would absolutely love it. But also me as a realtor, I would be frazzled and I don't want to do it. I don't want to work for both sides, man. I would definitely call somebody else in to make it fair for you, because I can't fight for the buyer and I can't fight for the listing agent if I'm selling it for both of you guys. So it's a good thing to have a real estate agent who knows what they're doing, who's not greedy, and who's going to do the right thing for you. All right, one of the other things about a real estate agent, that real estate agent is actually supposed to, whenever it comes time to mapping out the homes, they want to map out the homes that you're going to see so that you're not bouncing here, bouncing there, bouncing back over here. You want to kind of get it all into one circle, so they're just going to make it real easy for you. All right, that's something that I do for my clients, is I just map it out. I don't want to drive around too many places if we don't have to, or go backtracking when we don't have to. We try to schedule it out as best as possible. Sometimes that does mean that we miss a home because we have to skip it. It's not available at that time frame. But if we need to backtrack to get to that home, I'll actually book it that way, and I'll let you know in advance, so it's no surprise to you. But the real estate agent is actually here to be able to negotiate for you. That's why I said when it's a listing agent, they fight for their listing client, okay, or the seller. When it's a buyer's agent, the buyer's agent fights for that buyer. So we can sometimes negotiate a lower price for you. Sometimes we can negotiate that the seller concessions are coming out of the seller's pocket, okay? Maybe they're paying some of those closing costs. Maybe they're paying for the appraisal and the warranties. That's what our job is to do for you. That doesn't take out of our pocket. That actually helps you as a client, and that's the kind of real estate agent that you want to be able to look for. All right, so number 4, please, 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 as a client, know what you want, okay? You either want a house, you want a condo, you want a patio home, you want a manufactured home, you want a duplex, quadplex, you want a fourplex. There's plenty of different things that's out there. So if you say, hey, I'm looking for a home, I don't know what that means, I'm the real estate agent. I am trying to hone in for you so we can figure out a lot of those things. So let me give you some examples. All right, so some of the things that you want to make sure that you know about, all right, or you have an idea of what you're looking for, is you want to know the size of the home maybe. Maybe a 1,200 square foot home is not for you, because you might be moving from your parents, your friends, your family, or maybe your rental was 2,600 square feet, 3,000 square feet, 4,000 square feet. You don't want to move into a 1,300 square feet home or square foot home, and you don't want to have a listing of, I'm going to send you 100 listings a day of everything that's 1,900 square feet and under, when that's not what you're looking for, okay? So all that's gonna do is just waste your time. So please have an idea of the size of the home, you know, do you want a yard or not? If you're coming from a whole nother state, sometimes you have to look at Zillow maybe, I don't know. Maybe you just have to speak to that realtor and allow them to send you a couple of homes to figure out the style that you want. Here in Arizona, it's really, you know, it's all desert, man. Desert landscaping is what we have. But some homes have grass. So go ahead and let your realtor know, you know, what kind of yard that you want. Maybe a large acre is what you're looking for. So we can put that specification into the MLS and have the yard size actually listed out for you. Some people want to avoid highways. So whenever we're doing the searches, avoid the highways. You want to look at schools, especially the people with kids. You want to make sure you have the right school. So do a little bit of research yourself in advance before contacting the realtor and look at some of the schools that you want to stay within. That way you'll have the zip codes that qualify for that school. Bedrooms and bath, you would say that's a given, but that's something that you definitely want to have already in mind. How many kids do you have? How many rooms do you need? Do you need an office space? Do you need a workspace? Do you need a wood shop in your garage? Do you need a shed in the back? So you need to have all of this stuff all in mind. And one thing that's not up here is maybe the neighborhood that you want to go to. Figure out what neighborhood that fits you, that fits your personality, that's going to fit for your kids. And definitely look around that area. Drive there in the morning, drive there at night, because the morning time or during the day is definitely going to be different than at night. All right, there's different atmospheres for both times. So try to go over there on the weekends, during the week, do a couple of drive-throughs. All right, gotta watch how I say that. Drive-throughs to see how the neighborhood is and then how it's going to treat you if you were to purchase something in that area. All right, number 5 is the offer. So now your real estate agent is going to be the professional when it comes to writing an offer for you. They're going to actually give you ideas on the pricing that you want to come in at, or what the comps are. You know, comps are. Maybe not me. Man, success, all right? So they're going to give you an idea of what the comps are for the area, and they're going to help you out with that offer. There's a lot of things to sign, so they're going to explain how the whole breakdown of the offer is, all the specific paperwork that they need you to sign. They're going to explain all of that to you. But there's 2 things to remember whenever it comes to making an offer, all right? The number one thing is you want to be able to come in with the best offer, obviously, for the seller, so that you can get the home. Whether that be the best offer for you with a low price, or the best offer for you with the best price in order to win the home. So yes, you do want to come in and have a low asking price, but that all depends on your market, okay? And what I mean by that is there's a buyer's market and there's a seller's market. Whenever it's a buyer's market and you're the buyer, that's going to be a benefit for you, because now the real estate agent can come in there, negotiate some really good deals, and get you a lower price possibly for the home. I've done that many a times. Had a home actually listed at $360, I believe, and we got it for $310. So what I did was offer $280 because it was a good time to negotiate. The home has been on the market for 280 days plus. Dang. Hey, somebody was in there talking about, I just want to get home to my boyfriend. I just got tired of being here. Guess what? I used that to my advantage, and then I offered a lower price, and then they took it. So my client got in there for $310 instead of the $360 that they wanted to ask for. You know, so we get the better deal, and my client loves the home. In a seller's market, man, that's exactly what we're in right now. All right, seller's market is there's not a lot of homes that are going to be sold, all right? Well, there's a ton of buyers. So with that being said, the sellers have the advantage in this point. It's really hard to lowball some of these individuals because they're getting 40 and 50 offers just on that home. So in that situation, don't get scared. If you have to offer list price, or if you have to offer a little bit more, and this is the home that you want, go ahead and get it. Don't jump on the fear bandwagon. Just get the home that you want, because this is a forever home for you. All right, so number 6 is the earnest money deposit. This right here is actually something so that it's a promise to pay, all right? Like almost a promise to pay note. So you put the money down, your earnest money, sometimes $1,500, sometimes $2,500. And that also depends on the market as well. Or lately, for me, it has. But the earnest money is going to be something that says, hey, in good faith, I'm going to purchase your home, and here's some money for you to take it off the market. They now take it off the market for you. When you put in that earnest money deposit, it's being held in escrow. Escrow is the title company that's going to hold it for you. So me as a realtor, I don't hold it. I can transport it over to the escrow company, or the other realtor can do so at the same time. But we all take it over to the title company. We don't hold it ourselves. It always has to be held with some kind of broker or some kind of title company. Now, with it being set in there, now everything starts. Now we can start the inspection. Now we can start the appraisal. We just start looking at the home with the inspection. We set that up usually within the 10 days now here in Arizona. I don't know what it is everywhere else, but here in Arizona, 10 days we have that set up. And when we come in and do that, say we find a fault in the home and we need to walk away, we say, hey, this isn't okay. You actually get your earnest money back in that kind of situation. There's some other situations where you can get your earnest money back. Just ask your realtor that. I don't want to go too far into that because it'll make this video just that much longer. But if you run into some situations, that earnest money can be given back to you depending on what you're actually backing out of the deal for. If you just say my shoelace is untied and I don't want to purchase the home, there's times you won't get that back. It's actually going to go to the seller because now they had all this pain and strife and things like that, and they have to put it back on the market. So not always a bad thing because they get the earnest money and they put it back on the market and still possibly get it sold. But just know that you will have to come to the table with some earnest money. All right, $2,500, maybe $5,000, depending on what the market is. Right now it's a seller's market, so I do have people come in with a little bit more. Well, you gotta have some skin in the game in order to bypass everybody else. All right. So number 7 is an inspection. You must, not really a must. You don't have to, but I always recommend having an inspection. All right. Do not purchase a home without having your home inspected by a professional inspector. All right. Now, not everybody knows inspectors just randomly. I know when I purchased my home, I had no clue what an inspector was. I didn't know they do inspections on homes. What is going on? All right. Completely confused. But now, as a realtor, being in here 4 years, actually 4 years yesterday. So, yeah, it was pretty cool, right? So, with that being said, ask your realtor if they have a recommended inspector. If they don't, no worries. Get on Google, best inspector in the area. Go ahead and find yourself somebody because you want to have that whole home inspected. Their job is to save your derriere, okay? They're going to go through and walk and scan the whole home. There's different things they do, check plugs. They go into the attic, they go on the roof, or they send a drone up on the roof. They try to check some plumbing. They do more surface things. They can't just get into things. They can't go into pipes. They can't, just open up closets and move your items. They have to go and look on the surface of some of these items, but they're trained to look at things that we would never look for. They're going to be checking the air ducts to make sure that the air ducts are registering exactly what it's supposed to be, that the filters are being changed, that the AC life is actually expected to live longer after you purchase the home. They want to make sure that you're pretty much done okay whenever you purchase your home. They want to give you some time in the home to be able to enjoy yourself rather than you got to go in and do repairs. But their job also is, if there are some things that are wrong, now you come back to the negotiation table and you negotiate a lower rate, or you negotiate that they do some of the repairs. So in my cases, a lot of times they actually do repairs. So they will do the repairs that are minimal or that their pocketbook can actually allow. If the pocketbook doesn't allow, man, we take a credit. Doesn't even matter to us. If we're offering $400,000 and we have to re-floor the whole entire house and you're looking at 2,800 square feet, man, drop this thing down 15 to 20 grand and then we're going to purchase the home. Is that money in your pocket? Absolutely not. You're not getting that 400,000 deducting like 20 grand and they just hand that to you. That's not how that goes. They don't just knock it down to 380 and hand you 20 grand cash. So it will be a $380,000 or $385,000 home, but there's no money in that hand. But the lower monthly payments are what we're hoping for to be able to actually do that floor. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Or maybe it appraises super high and in the future you can go and get a refinance and then fix those floors. But Number 7 is inspections. Please make sure you get an inspection. It's very important when it comes to purchasing a home. All right, number 8. This one is actually extremely important, but it's also taken care of by somebody else. But you want to check the records on the home. You want to make sure there's no lien or there's mechanic liens, there's no cloud, maybe you owe child support, maybe you owe for an old home, or maybe you owe a large debt to where they put a lien on the home. All right. So if you're the buyer, they're not going to put a lien on the home that you're looking to purchase. If you own it, they can do that. So the seller may have one of those liens or records holding up the sale of the home. Okay. So you just want to make sure that that's not going to hold up the sale when it comes to you purchasing, because that can cause a lot of issues. But this is why it's very important to have a title company. The title company is actually going to be looking up all of those things to make sure that there's no dues or anything missed, so that when they sell the home, it doesn't transfer over to you as a buyer. All right. They make sure they do their due diligence to cover the home and the derriere of both of you guys. So it's very important to have that title company. Don't just try to do a sale, in between individuals just because you can high five, save some money, things like that. There's some very important things when it comes to searching for the records that we may not be able to find just as ourselves. All right. Let the title company do all of that stuff. That's what they're paid for. All right. All right. So number 9 is actually review everything. Review everything that you've now come to. If it's a 30-day closing, 90-day closing, you have a chance to actually review all of your paperwork throughout that whole time. So you're gonna send in the offer right away. You're gonna have your inspection, so you'll have your inspection within a couple of days. You should have your appraisal back now. You should have all your lending and funding docs being soon sent to you or already sent to you. So as you start to get all of those things, there's a little bit of rest time in there. Even though it's all exciting to be able to purchase the home, there's a little bit of time to be able to review all of your documents. All right. Some people actually come in with measuring tapes. So if you need, there's a final walkthrough that you do 5 days prior to the closing. At least it is here in Arizona. But you can come back in with the measuring tapes again. All right. Measure the refrigerator area, the countertop area. You can measure the couch area. All the surfaces that you need to measure or get pictures of. Go ahead and do so. All right. Make sure during that walkthrough as well that everything in the home is just as it was when you first came in, because that's the time period where if there's something damaged, you can actually walk away from the situation because there was a detrimental situation to the home. Maybe they just ripped out the entire garage door just because they got upset, chained it to the car and ripped it off. You can actually back out of that purchase now. So there's a lot of different things, like I was trying to explain in the beginning. I just don't want to go far into it. That will get you out, get your earnest money, but review your documents. You want to understand exactly what you're purchasing, and without reviewing them with your realtor, with your spouse, with the title company, or whoever you need to review it with, you can even have your attorney review it. This is very important. You want to make sure you have the dates, the dimensions, and all of that down pat and ready for when you got to close. All right, finally, you made it to closing. All right, this is the best day ever. So in closing, you're going to sign probably about 170, 160 documents. There's a whole lot. So at that time, you're not going to be having time to sit there and just read through them, because usually it's about 30 minutes to an hour session, and you need a whole lot more time to be able to read through that. But all you're redoing is re-signing all of the documents, putting everything into your name, and going over the whole structure of the contract. All right. You've already said, I want to purchase it for this price. My monthly payments are going to be around this. All right. This is my down payment. These are my closing costs. These are the fees that are going to get paid. And if everything goes smooth or everything looks correct on there, you're good to go. Smooth selling. If there's something that's not correct and your realtor's there or your realtor's not there, it doesn't even matter, and you notice something, say something to the title company. They switch it fairly quick. They're really quick moving hands, They know what they're doing, so trust them. Always, always, always bring out any issues that you see in that closing table, man. There's usually not a whole lot, but there's times where there is. But one thing to know is, if you go in and make a purchase and you're closing, but they're going to rent the home back for you, have your real estate agents, the listing and the buyer, actually write up a contract for a rental. okay, or that short-term, whatever you need. They just need to write up the contract. Here in Arizona, we are legalized or able to actually write up the contract, or a legal contract for you. So I've done it before. The individual rented it back for 5 days. There is a certain amount of money that they have to give back, because guess what? You've already reached closing. You've already closed on the home. So now you, as the buyer, you are the owner and they are the tenant. So now you become the landlord, they become the tenant. They owe you some money. So what I typically do is, what is our mortgage? I split it up for the whole 30 days or 29 days, however many days for that month, 31 days, I don't care. Split it up for those days, divided by the days actually, not split it up, divided by the days. And then whatever the cost is per day, that's what I'm gonna have them pay. And then they make an agreement whether they're gonna pay it, whether they're not gonna pay it, but they have a move out date. If they don't move out by that date, then there's some other repercussions that you can do. That's not what I'm gonna talk about here, but we're gonna talk about closing, all right? You're now done. Here in Arizona, you do not get the keys right there at the closing table. You have to wait for all the documents to be sent over to the court. And once the documents are sent to the court, like say as an example, right? You sign at 9 o'clock in the morning, you may get your keys around like 12, 1, 2 o'clock. If you sign at 12 o'clock, you're gonna get your keys 4 or 5 o'clock. For the most part, me as a realtor, I always meet you there, all right? I always meet you there with a gift. I meet you there with your keys and a high five or a hug, all right? Then give you the keys. I don't take a picture of you unless you want it, but man, now everything is yours. You own it. You now live in the home. Your first payment hopefully isn't there until 2 months down the line or whatever the heck your lender told you, but it's your home, man. Yo, I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and this is very informative for you, but these are the 10 steps on how to purchase your home. I appreciate it. If you made it this far, hit the like button if you haven't, and please subscribe, man. I love you guys.